Hey everybody, Flip with Kelly coming at you. How's everybody doing today? Just wanted to make a short, quick little video. Been a little busy here lately, but little update. We had a seller. Um, she was telling me last night that, or yesterday afternoon, whatever, that I think it was like condo fees were piling up or something, but then she looked on CCAP recently because we've been dealing with the seller for a while now. Sometimes they're ready right away. Sometimes they got to ripen a little. They need a little push. And I think she got that push yesterday because she wanted me to call her, which I did. And then I think she said she saw herself on CCAP, and I haven't even looked her up yet. But so it looks like there's foreclosure, is what she was telling me. So that foreclosure, and sometimes the seller don't always know this, but once that foreclosure's on, then it's a little bit of a race against time. But she said that the CCAP was just recent, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a good thing then if it's recent, because, you know, recent's better than late to the game. You know, like you got on CCAP months ago, and now here we are, but not the case with this seller. So not all sellers realize the urgency of it. I tried to explain it to her. She apparently already knew it, so I didn't necessarily have to explain it to her, but maybe I confirmed what she already knew, and she realizes that, you know, hey, instead of the property just getting foreclosed on, why not get some money out of this instead of just walking away empty-handed and being out on the streets or having to find another place to live with no money. So she wants her money. Don't blame her, and I'm glad that she is well aware of the fact that, you know, these foreclosures are a time of the essence, because I basically told her, I said, if things go too long, there might not even be anything that we can do about it. And she did realize that, so we're both on the same page. My partner down in Milwaukee, Martha, is scheduled to do a walkthrough today for, I think, the third time. Third time's a charm, maybe. But so definitely motivation is there at this point. And so let's see if this time is a go. And, you know, when you got a motivated seller, and then wholesalers like ourselves, and then a hungry buyer, somebody looking to make their next dollar, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever they're going to make off the deal. When you get that win-win-win going, that can be a beautiful thing. So, in other words, a motivated seller needs a wholesaler, needs a end buyer just as much as a end buyer needs a wholesaler. You know, seller needs a wholesaler just as much as a wholesaler needs a seller. It's not necessarily like, you know, because like we've done, or I've done 18 deals now in the last couple years. So you might come across another wholesaler that locks it up, wants to play games, or has lack of knowledge, locks it up for too high of a price, and has to negotiate it down later, which that can happen to the best of us at times. It's just a lot fewer and further between when you're crunching your numbers right. You know where your buyers are going to come in at, or maybe you don't, so you need to reverse wholesale to figure that out. But along with this experience, a lot of times it just becomes a more smoother process. And knowing that you need to remain in touch with the seller once or twice a week up until closing, and just kind of knowing how to, orally or writtenly express to the seller what's going on, what's coming up, what are next steps, keeping them in the loop so they don't get worried or decide that, hey, I'm going to enter into another contract, which is actually, illegal on their part. But just getting ahead of things so that problems don't come up. And so, yeah, it's always a beautiful day if you get one across the finish line. That's a nice little cash surge into your Hip National Bank pocket. Don't forget to set money aside to pay your taxes. Don't do that, because that's a whole nother game you don't want to get into playing. But yeah, the wholesaling is a very highly taxed game, but the more tax you pay, the more money you're making. Just don't forget to set that portion aside for your taxes and get those paid up so that you don't end up getting tax lien on yourself. And then basically when you don't pay your taxes, there's usually two things that happen. First thing that happens is they freeze your bank account. And I'm not saying it's going to happen today or tomorrow, but this is usually not always 100%. But sometimes there are things that come before taxes, higher priorities. But for a lot of people out there, they're going to freeze your bank account. And then the second thing that's going to happen is they're going to let you know that they froze your bank account. And they're going to do it in that order. They'll freeze it first, and then they'll let you know that they froze it. They don't give you necessarily give you the heads up first. So, yeah, an unfrozen liquid bank account can be a good thing. But so yeah, be responsible. Set your money aside, and pay yourself first too. But death and taxes, right? So. Anyways, so yeah, just a little update. I'm sure this lead came about from direct mail, which has been my 99.9% of our deals have come through direct mail. I do want to get into the cold calling. I'm not quite there yet. I've made tens of thousands of cold calls in the past, then I quit doing it. But I do want to get back into it. My theory is that when I do a lead for direct mail, I've got to consider that dollar worthy. Dollar worthy meaning a letter cost me about $1, give or take. You got the stamp, the envelope, you got the letter, which involves paper, the ink, and you probably got a little gas driving down to the post office, so a little gas wear and tear there. So when I'm sending out not a lead, but when I'm sending out a letter to a prospect or a postcard. Mostly I do letters nowadays, but I could see postcards being cool too. But I want to consider whether this prospect, this address on if I'm going to put it on the list, I want to know for direct mail if it's dollar worthy. Now, if I don't consider it dollar worthy, and I've got a filtering list of criteria that I go through, then they don't get that dollar envelope. However, this prospect could potentially become a lead. It can't become a lead if I don't reach out to them. So that's where the cold calling would come in. And I would love to do the cold calling as well, just because I send out less direct mail. In Wisconsin here, it's the area that I'm familiar with. I've been marketing over 2 years now, in this area, and I know what has converted in the past for us. I know what I've marketed to, and I know it works, and I know it works better than others. So the ones that work better than others are going to get more mails sent to that particular list, and more consistently as well. I shouldn't say consistently, like daily versus, weekly or monthly or quarterly, let's say, or even yearly. Some can be yearly. So, but yeah, anyways, and then you could maybe get a system going to where when you call them, if you're not able to reach them with that phone call, if the system or software or whatever you're using would automatically send them a text if they don't pick up, if you don't get that hello to them. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. And then as well as branching out into other states, there's a couple different trains of thought there. One would be, which is probably going to be obviously the way I would probably want to do it, is to just choose another state to go after. And you don't have to start with the whole state. You can go after, county or city, and then fan out from there into the rest of the state, perhaps. But because that's the way I've done Wisconsin is, at first I marketed to anybody and everybody, and then I kind of learned over 2 years what really works. And I learned what works by the deals that we've completed and gotten paid on. I know the deals that we've gotten paid higher amounts on, and I know the greater number of deals, like from what areas and what price points and whatnot. The age of the property, all that factors in. Property type, stuff like that. So that would be another thing too that I would be looking to do is to branch out into maybe at first just one, and then eventually get into two. So the one I'm in, branch out into one more, and then maybe one more, and then maybe, and this is stretching it, one more, but you got to hit a cap as far as maybe one or two is all you're going to handle. If you're like me, I got a partner down in Milwaukee, which helps, and we do split the revenue, the assignment fee. We do split that. We also split expenses, which our expenses are way down here outside of the marketing, but once in a while we do incur like legal fees, or we had to pay for an Uber once for a seller to get to closing. Anyways, they're just like a little miscellaneous stuff. Sometimes I pay my partner to do research for me too, and she's been great about that, but to do little things for me. All this stuff is pretty few and far between, and it's very minor. Legal fees can be a little bit. They don't get too out of proportion. Nothing crazy there either. But but yeah, unless you start hiring VAs or assistants, or they got transaction coordinators, acquisitions, partner, dispositions, partner or agent, whatever you want to call them. Unless you start getting more partners, people working for you, subs, employees, helpers of some sort, unless you start outsourcing, eliminating, automating, unless you do all this stuff. And of course AI is becoming a part of today also, but you got to hit a ceiling unless you're able to bring more people in to help you out, and you'll pay out 10-20% whatever to those people, but you'll be making more overall at the end of the year by doing it, but one step at a time. So right now I do what's been working, and I keep doing that. And I also still do my drywall painting. I just got done working for a guy doing sprinkler heads. Oh my gosh. Learned so much about doing sprinkler heads in people's lawns. It was crazy. But very interesting. So that's life as of today. If you keep in mind this wholesaling, we did like over 100,000 in 6 months, and then it dropped down to where we weren't doing as much. So just keep in mind that sometimes this stuff will fluctuate. Save up for those rainy days or sunny days, and it's not necessarily like clockwork that these checks are going to come in. So keep that in mind. That's just like anything in life, right? You might have these, it's like the stock market, right? Sometimes it goes up and down, it fluctuates, but you got to ride that wave as long as it lasts and play it smart. So, Flip with Kelly. If you found any value, share, like, and subscribe. Smash the like button and have yourself a great rest of your day. Kelly out.